the obvious question to Burnett it's I think you were even maybe said, as well as hinting, this threatens to be, if academics can't get a better hold of the issue, then we're going to lose any possible audience. That is that there are so many other people whose business it is to successfully hold the next generation's attention, then the kind that we like may not have a very solid ground. Is that?
Yes, basically. I mean, I think it's possible to be even more depressed than that, which is to say, at my, most nightmarish, my concern is less that the little tranche of the attentional marketplace afforded to academic inquiry and its popular disseminations will get smaller. Like, that seems true to me and unfortunate, but not truly epochally cataclysmic, since that tranche has always been pretty small anyway. The more imperiling fear is that the change in degree of fracking the human attentional faculties, coupled with the new kind of grammatization of the subject to these prosthetics that are always on us, these phone things that are kind of, and the amount of our lives we spend on screens, that the net effect of all of that will actually be genuinely to bring to a close the form of interiority that we associate with like human subjectivity in the form we know. And that is really amazing and seems also, I would suggest, to be happening. I mean, that's, in other words, to say that something like a condition of collapse of the space of the human subject occurs, and we become little reflex arcs assisting in the translation of sort of minimum wage in and acquisition of things on Amazon out. That's basically where hypercapitalism would like us, as a flinch, making that connection. So that's maximally dystopic.
My question is for Liebe and Catherine. Do you think historians of science have anything special to contribute to the history of the humanities? And is there any particular subject in the ancient Mediterranean that you think Jed should write on next?
If I can go back to my line in my talk on history being the science of pattern recognition, what historians have systematically done is take out of their toolbox of pattern recognition any consideration of the sciences. So it's really up to us to convince them that the sciences and technology are a part of their toolbox of pattern recognition. And we can go into discussion later about how those patterns of pattern recognition change. But yes, they do, I think, have something to offer the humanities in trying to understand this whole thing, which is called history.
Well, thanks very much for your question. I think I'll stand so I'm not twisting around. I say thank you because I think one of the themes that I've been interested in for a number of years now is whether science is really separate from everything else. And I sometimes think that in the period in which most of my work is focused, in antiquity, that science, here's Herodotus. He's interested in what we call science. Okay, he is poo-pooing poetry a little bit. He's poo-pooing Homer. But I think that we take for granted so much of what we think of science in the modern period, that those of us who are working in earlier periods have to remind some of the rest of you that poetry, for instance, was a perfectly normal vehicle for talking about and doing mathematics and what we call science. Letters came up earlier. You brought that up, and I was so pleased you brought up Archimedes and his correspondence. I think dialogues have come up. So I don't think that it's all that separate, and I think that we need to remind everyone that science is part of human culture and that it's, you know, it's not completely separate. And in terms of what Jed should do, I think he should just do what Herodotus did and study Egypt. Thanks.
Thank you. We will continue it over coffee downstairs.